We are here dropping Klefbombs week 2 wrap up, week 3 preview, week 3 midweek COVID update, whatever you want to call it. We are here, me and Tori, Kamish, Scrub Dynasty, Mr. Maverick, here bringing you all the info from the dropping Klefbombs league that you need to know and that we're willing to give because we're not going to give it all.
Well, maybe at all, but we'll see. We'll see where we start.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome everyone who chooses to watch. We'll try and touch on some fantasy, but overall, we're just going to be talking about our Dynasty League specifically. Maybe touch on a few other things along the way, but yeah. How are you doing today? You ready to get into this?
Yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot more trades to talk about.
Yeah.
Some of which aren't me, but some more of me as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure.
I'm always in the action.
No, it's good. I think
what
for the first point, for the first point, it was only you in all the trades, and then I jumped in there making some trades without you, and now it looks like even other people are starting to make trades. So people are waking up.
I felt lost, so
people are waking up for sure. It's not like last season. I think I made this point before where it was a little bit easier last year because like 2 or 3 teams were like asleep at the wheel halfway through and kind of just letting the season play out. Whereas this year everyone's like in the mix and ready to go. So
I'm pretty sure the only team that hasn't made a trade yet is Jamie. Maybe Dylan? Has Dylan made a trade yet?
No, I don't think so.
Think he has.
I don't think Dylan's made a trade. So, Jamie hasn't made a trade.
It's a coincidence. Those are the only 2 guys I haven't made a trade with yet.
Joey makes a trade for a goalie after telling me he's happy with his goalies. What a jerk. I'm holding him against that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I had the one unique card to play there because I had the tandem to go with Vegas that could make him have a stronger goaltending tandem without actually carrying an extra body, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to drop Jari. By acquiring Fleury, he needs to drop Jari and then just do an occasional flex. If he's willing to do that work, I think that can make him a really strong team, but we'll see.
He has to be able to, because Vegas isn't going to be playing 4 games a week, right? So,
no,
not every week.
Especially, yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm pulling open the trades right now, and we can go over them.
I was going to say, you pick one, and we'll start there and go from there.
We'll just start at, I think, the first trades of the week, right? First one, I guess it was me. Out of the gate, I get a 7th round pick. I trade off Tyler Toffoli for a 12th, and just for a pick. I was opening up a roster spot, and just to put this in context, this was much before the Vegas COVID news had broken. This was before it, so I had a big, glorious plan in the works when I'm making this trade, and I'm just really opening up a roster spot so that I can add some games. Let's just say Vegas got COVID and St. Louis missed a game, and I was not happy, and it kind of bit me in the ass.
It didn't really, though, because I look at it that you did that because you had this plan. The plan failed on you, so you just turned around and then you spent basically the exact same assets you got for Toffoli, and you got Besser.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, you could argue some people will pick different guys, but I personally would probably pick Besser over Toffoli.
At the end of the day, I value Besser just slightly bigger because, and this is the main reason is he's a 12th rounder as opposed to a 10. So that's the only difference in my mind.
Yeah, and I mean the 12th and the 13th, the 1 round difference, right? So I got one additional. We'll get to this trade in 1 sec, but I got 1 additional round. Back for Besser over Toffoli. So that makes sense. Same right on the same parallel for value. So that makes sense.
Yep, so I wasn't done. I made the next trade, and this was strictly to add games because I was in a battle of my life. I added Bjorkstrand and Connor Murphy. I think Connor Murphy, something Murphy.
Connor Murphy.
So I pick up 2 guys, and these 2 guys were interesting because I think I pulled this trade off on Wednesday or maybe Thursday. Just adding games because they're the only teams that played on the Friday. I sent Nick Kempe and Yamamoto. Kempe had no more games on the week, and I ended up giving him a wash in terms of rounds of picks. But I sent him a 7th and a 13th, and I got a 9th and 11th back. Technically a wash, but I did give up the higher round. It is what it is. I think at the end of the day, No, Bjorkstrand's still rostered. The other three are now on waivers, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, this trade is just what it is. It's just, need for need and somebody helping somebody out, and work for both people is what it is. And it's really irrelevant long term, but
did you put these in
it worked. It was a smart trade.
On this list? They're in order of what happened in the week? So...
They're all in chronological order, minus the last one, because I wanted to talk about that after.
That's fine.
The keeper spot.
I'm just shocked to see that I was involved in 3 consecutive trades.
I know. I love it, though, because I think that kind of sparked some more people to, maybe reevaluate some assets and say, I don't think I can wait around. If everyone else is doing their stuff, I got to get in on this party, right?
Yeah. So maybe, I guess these rest of these trades happened Monday, because we're doing this one on Tuesday. Normally we do the podcast on Mondays right after the week.
Yeah.
But we're celebrating.
So we have 1 day advantage for some predictions and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see if that actually makes it any better.
Yeah, for sure. And I had to delay it 1 day.
Be false bias. Fool's gold.
So these trades happened either today or yesterday on the Monday or Tuesday. So I ended up trading you for Brock Besser, giving up a 7th rounder, and I get a 13th back. I guess I'm kind of filling a hole here. I'm in a tough week myself. I think I'm have 4 guys on postponements as of right now, which kind of hurts. I needed to add some games. I needed to add.
Esther had a 4-game week too, right?
Yeah, he had a 4-game week, so I'm adding games, and I'm also looking at potentially adding some offense to my team after.
He has a high ceiling too. I don't think he's, it's not a flash in the pan situation. Like looks like he's due for a pretty solid season. So
yeah, and
hopefully it's win-win. Like sure. I hope you're happy with it, because I am.
I am happy with it. I think it was pretty fair trade. You didn't ask for the moon, which is good because you weren't gonna get it. Because I understand, like, he's a top 10 ranked player right now, but I also understand he's on a heater and all these things. But I needed.
Canadian games have played all their schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Some games have been postponed for good players, so that's skewed that. But yeah.
So, you're just getting picks back in return. So really, it's like you. I think you might touch on it. Essentially, traded Toffoli for Besser, with a little bit in between there. Yeah.
And for me, it's I wasn't really looking to make trades yet, but I kind of at the same time had listed the picks that I was wanting or desiring for each player, or what in an ideal situation I'd get. And then I also spent some time going around the league to look at, okay, you have keepers in this round, or you have keepers in this round. Because, like, if you're asking for a 6, let's say, there's only 2 teams that could even possibly give you 6 because there's keepers in that round. Well, you're never going to get a 6, right?
Well, and then a 7th is essentially a 6th anyway.
Exactly. So I was like, I'm never going to get a 6. So if I get a 7, I'll make the trade. I would have liked to keep them longer. I'm not going to lie, but I'm testing out a theory. I told you today, I'm going after making the decisions to make this, I'm going to go 100% analytics. And I'm going to ignore the name of the player and who they play for and whatever. Obviously, I'll pay attention to games left and stuff like that. But I'm going by averages. And because I'm strong in net, I only have to target shots on goal and hits. And there's a lot of guys that do those 2 things, but don't actually produce at a high enough level where other people actually want them. So, like, they're going to be my guys, and I'm going to just see what I can do analytically and see if it works. Yeah. I'm interested to see if it works. But at the same time, I've set myself up beautifully for next year. So I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. And like we've touched on before, like you came into the season, everyone expected you to be trash. So like the fact that you're even where you're at right now, I think has had quite a few teams by surprise. And I do think we both predicted you making the playoffs though at the beginning.
I still think I will.
I think you will too.
I'm going to pull the good old Tampa Bay Rays here. I'm going to, rebuild and build at the same time. And your guess is as good as mine of what's going to happen. But like basically what I had hoped to accomplish in between now and the trade deadline, I've basically already done. if the season ended tomorrow, I'm ecstatic with what I have. So from here on out, for me, everything is gravy. If I miss the playoffs, whatever anyone wants, I take a little bit more picks. If I make the playoffs, maybe I'll trade a mid-late pick. Maybe we'll see. But I'm probably not going to trade any picks this year. But
Yeah, you never
if I
know.
can make the playoffs and cause some damage and be set up for next year,
watch out. Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then you don't stop there. I think you're in back-to-back trades here. Well, you said you set yourself up, so you trade Joey, you unload Fleury, and a 7th and a 12th, and get a 6th and a 10th back. So 3 rounds upgrade and unloading Fleury to a team that needs a second goalie because he's been relying on Jari, who's been
happens to have Leonard.
And happens to have Leonard, yeah.
Yeah, that's good tandem for him. It's a good addition for him, right?
I think so. I wouldn't say I would do it. I wouldn't run a tandem team, just because it runs into the problem of having to add every week. That's the only reason I'm against it.
Postpone games.
I've kind of run into the strategy of picking up the goalie that's going to get 3 starts on a team. So I had Allmark last week. I'm going to be riding James Reimer this week. He's going to be getting all his team starts, potentially all 4. So that's kind of the strategy I'm going with. We'll see which one pans out, Cotton.
Part of my analytics approach too is that with all of the guys I have, there's a lot of them who are, let's call it replacement level. But realistically, if they play 2 games that week, it's just a body. I drop them for somebody who plays 4 games that week.
Exactly.
I have the flexibility where I'm thinking, if I have 3 bodies that play 2 games that week, I'm going to use 3 add 3 guys who play 4 games that week. All of a sudden, I add like 6 games.
Yep. No, for sure.
So that's going to give me a huge advantage, and I'm not moving any more goalies, I don't think, from here on out, but we'll see.
Never say never, Tori. That's all I'm
Never
saying.
say never. There's a price for everyone, right? But I mean, I can tell you Vasilevsky and Rask aren't going anywhere. I can tell you that.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Rask's nothing anyway.
Well,
next
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where Rask goes because I was thinking about that today, and I asked you a few teams. I went through the league and whatever, just out of curiosity, because it seems like the relationship is done in Boston.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that seems to be my take.
We'll have to touch on that on Hockey Podcast, possibly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll circle back then. Stay tuned. But I just I'm intrigued to see where he goes because there's a lot of good options.
And is he on a contract
now? He's UFA.
Okay.
So the only thing that can backfire me on this whole thing is if Rask, for some reason, decides he wants to retire, and I paid for nothing.
Yeah.
But then I paid 2 8th rounders, which I looked in the 8th rounds. Other than keepers, there's only like 6 or 7 guys, like half of the picks left on their teams. So like, am I really giving up a ton? We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping he doesn't retire. That's the only thing that can bite me in the ass here.
Yeah, makes sense. Then this next trade, I was a little surprised by this one, just by the timing. Jesse takes Nikolai Ehlers from you, plus a 7th and a 10th. He gives you Tyler Mott, who's whatever, for a 4th and an 8th. That's pretty big pick upgrades. The reason I was surprised to see this is because my understanding was that Tyler Mott would have been decent for Jesse this week, specifically for the hits against your team. Other than that, giving them to you, I guess he's basically forfeiting hits. I don't know. Did you drop Mott, or are you keeping him for the week?
The way I saw it is that only he's gonna hate me for adding this, but basically, the original trade that we were gonna agree to, he was gonna drop Mott.
Yeah.
So when I countered, I just included him in the trade. And for me, Mott fits my structure better than Tanev does.
Yeah.
So Mott was an upgrade for me on Tanev, which allowed me to drop Tanev for a spot, which was a spot start tonight in a goalie, and then we'll go to a guy for shots on goals and hits tomorrow. So
part of me wonders if anyone even knew who Mott was before I added him, and he fucking went on that heater last week.
Yeah, and I was just more of a questioning of it, like, is he going to stay in the lineup, just in terms of like being able to produce the shots and the hits? Because my structure, I only look at shots and hits. I look at goalie
yeah.
stats, shots and hits.
He's a
So
cornerstone in Vancouver's lineup. He will never be taken out.
see,
Yeah, he's
okay,
he's like
good to know. That makes me happy.
he's their absolute best penalty killer.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
yeah,
Sweet. That makes me happy.
that's
So
why I
he's
added.
staying on my team then.
I like him. He's such a closet. Like he's not gonna get the goals that he's been putting up. He won't do that. But the hits are there.
The peripherals.
He's a workhorse. He's a great player for your team. One of the closet ads that Benning did a couple years ago when he traded Vanek, he got Tyler Mott in return.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's just one of key trades. It's one of those underrated. Benning sometimes makes some good decisions, just not on free agents.
That's actually a good trade.
Yeah, just not on free agents.
Yeah, that could be a topic for another pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this trade is actually a win because, like, I don't know, I might be biased, but I actually really like Ehlers. I feel like he's actually, I don't want to say he's more skilled than Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor definitely works harder, but like Ehlers is sneaky in terms of like he thinks, how do I get the puck to the net? How do I get it there quickest? Sometimes he dishes it off because he has that skill, but he's a lot more, how do I get to the net and how do I get the shot on net? So like he's a guy that for the last 3 years, he's in the top page, so top 25 shot on goal average. So he's a guy that shoots the puck. He's money in the bank for 3 shots every night.
And I'm assuming Dubois, once he starts there, is going to be the center for Ehlers.
He will, but he's a two-way.
No, I'm saying that as a
he won't be shooting the puck as much.
No, I'm saying
exactly right. Yeah. So that's a bonus for him. So like there's a bit of risk there, but the other thing too, the sneaky thing that he said, I was texting him earlier. He's like, I learned a lesson today. Never to trade with Torrey again.
Everybody
like, oh, come on, man.
I learned that lesson. I'll never let you forget it. But I still trade with you.
But right? So what I told him is like, did you look at the games played? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I got Ehlers for Monday and he plays Tuesday, Thursday. So you got him for Tuesday, Thursday, but he doesn't play Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and you're not going to drop him. So he clogs up a roster spot and a non-droppable spot through the weekend on you.
Yeah, and you guys are playing head to head. So yeah, maybe don't trade with your opponent during the week or no. Yeah.
Well, it was funny how it all worked because I was talking a big trade with somebody else. And then that trade kind of fell apart. Didn't really make sense for either of us. The more we kind of talked about it, so we kind of broke that shot off. And then I kind of talked or chatted with another guy as well. And then I got a pretty good offer, but it was basically one of those fence offers where you're like, I just don't know what to do. Like, do I take it? Do I don't? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep on it. So he's like, okay, no worries. Let's talk in the morning. So then I was literally turning the TV off and going to bed. And Jesse texted me. He's like, okay, if we're going to do this, let's get this done tonight. And I was like, oh man, I'm tired. He's like, me too. I'm like, all right, let's nail this down. Let's get this done and go to bed. So like we kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he's like, no this, no that. I'm like, no this, no that. And then at one point I was like, fuck it, let's get this deal done. This and that. Because we were talking a third pick involved too.
Yeah.
We were talking back and forth. And the third pick we couldn't line up, but we kind of matched up these picks. So I was just like, screw it. Let's drop off the third pick and let's just get it done.
How funny!
Let's just go to bed.
How funny is it that you have that much back and forth for Ehlers, but when we're talking Besser, I tell you to pick, and I guess you're probably shocked that I offered so good. I thought about offering lower. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna offer what I'm gonna offer, and we got it done. We got it done like that.
Seven was like I said, I fully was transparent there. I looked around, and there was not. There was 1 or 2 potential matches for a 6th rounder, but like, I probably wasn't gonna get it. So like, I was only going to get a 7th for Besser in the best situation. So like, do I wait and risk him getting hurt, him going cold, him being traded to a bad situation, him having COVID, you know what I mean? Or do I just take the 7th, which was the round that I projected to get back for him? So I was like, you know what? Want him, you made me an offer that was like, that's fair. Let's do it. There's no point renegotiating, right? That's the pick I was hoping you offered. If you offered 8, I would have said no. I want the 7.
Yeah, I
I
figured
assume
that's
you
how it
would
was
have
going to
said
go. I didn't want to
sure,
waste
but
time. All right, so let's
so
jump. First trade on the season, not involving you or I. Jesse
yeah.
is not done. He is not. He's out there adding forwards left, right, and center. I think this is his third forward. I guess he gives up one for this one, but he picks up Thomas Tatar. Kind of interesting considering he got Toffoli earlier a week ago. Kind of the same kind of interesting player. So, but he trades off Radulov, who I know he's someone he was not
England.
someone that he was thinking about dropping. He was kind of the bottom of his roster at the point. He gives up. I guess that's not a 4th, a 13th and a 14th for a 12 and a 13. So what's that? Like 2 rounds he goes up. Yeah, so 2 rounds and he gets Tatar. So in the end here, Sean ends up spending what was it, $4 to get Tatar, and now 2 rounds. So $4 plus 2 rounds to get Radulov is what that kind of equates for him. I don't know. Like this trade to me is just a trade. I don't really see what either guy's doing here.
It's in the same bubble as your Bjorkstrand Kempe trade with the picks. Just kind of, this is where I'll give a call out to Jesse. Like, he's making some really smart moves because he kind of realizes that he can't really get the ads at the end of the week now that he's picked up some of these bodies. So he's going to try and ram them in over the next day or two, and then see what happens. That's kind of what has to happen now, unfortunately, with his schedule. But the other thing that's a sneaky trick for him now is that he luckily, fortunately, got some of his players put on the COVID list.
Yeah, he got. Yeah.
I'm hoping those players are out for the week, because that's Ristolainen, who is one of his biggest hitters, and he gave me Mott too. So he basically just forfeited shots and hits to me, which is what I needed. So as long as my goalies hold up, I win this week.
Yeah.
So like, he's trying to recover from that too at the same time, right? So like, we'll see, but it's going to be. We'll get to predictions in a second, but I originally had Jesse beating me easily, just the way he was built. Now I have me winning.
Do you have Josh Anderson?
Do.
Oh, it's not 2 gold night so far. Props.
Many hits and shots.
I don't care.
He has at least 2 shots.
I don't care. All
He's got 2 goals.
Let's get to this last trade, the most interesting one, I guess. You cough up 2 8th-round picks to Nick. He gives you an 11th, a 13th, and an alleged keeper rental spot. So take it away. Explain this one for the plebs out there.
So basically, for some backstory, Nick rented his keeper spot last year to Dylan, where he rented Dougie Hamilton in exchange for a player in the pick in whatever round it was, the player that he wanted.
I think it was the
fifth, I basically was the 5th. So I basically, we'll get to keepers probably another podcast and whatever, but I originally wanted to keep a 5th keeper in the 4th round, sorry. So I said to him, okay, what does that structure look like you to do that?
Yeah.
And he gave me the price, and I couldn't make it happen. It was just too costly. So I was like, okay. And then the idea came to me, well, Brady Tkachuk is my 8th rounder. So what would it cost if I used a rental spot for Brady Tkachuk?
Yeah.
And he said, here's my price. And I said, actually, he didn't even give me the price. I just guessed, and I was like, is this fair? And he's like, yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. So
I basically purchased a rental spot. So now I have 5 keepers this year.
So deep down inside, Nick has to keep an 8th-round pick. That's part of the deal, I'm sure. He has to keep it. He can't trade it away.
So the 8th rounder is to keep Tkachuk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically an 8th for an 11 and 13th.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not really how it works, but that's basically how it works, right?
Yeah. Okay. That basically wraps up all the trades as of today. I'm sure there'll be more coming down the pipeline. What week's the trade deadline? Week 6, 7, somewhere around there?
In between 7 and 8.
Okay.
Sunday, I believe it's Sunday on the conclusion of week 7.
We're about a month away.
The trade deadline.
A month away, so I'm sure.
Yeah, we're not very far.
Once, I think people are waiting for that first team to go 0-3, maybe 0-4, and then they're going to just try to rape and pillage whoever that is.
Even at the same time, like right now, if you're putting a target on anyone, unfortunately, it's Ben. But if you look at his team's had a struggling Malkin. His team's had Liney, who hasn't really played a game, and on top of a team who has Matthews, like he just got a huge boost to his shots on goals and probably goals and points.
Yeah.
So like once Malkin heats up with Liney being back, it's not a team I would want to face right now
Yeah.
in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a tight
Like,
playoff race. I'm so excited, so excited. Let's just quickly touch
Yeah.
base on the waiver wire ads that people spent money on. Everyone gets $100 at the beginning of the season to bid on waivers to jump the line, essentially. So first one, we got Tanev, Brendan
Tanev.
Tanev. He went for $4. You got bid $4. Ben bid $3. So I wanted to ask you point blank, how did you know Ben had bid $3?
I didn't. I just try to think I know people, and I try to be like, what's the number that makes sense? And for me, if I put a bid in and I win, I feel confident I paid the right price.
Yeah.
And I went back and forth on the waiver because you can go back to the waiver and change your bid after you've already done it the first time. But I went back like 6 or 7 times. Originally, I had 0. I was like, well, if I don't get him, he's only a hitter. It's a 1-tool guy, not a big deal. I don't know if he's going to stay on my team, whatever. And then I went back in and I was like, no, I'm going to go $3 because like if somebody does bid, they're going to be like, oh, I'll bid $1 because no one else is bidding. And I was like, but if somebody thinks, oh, somebody else is bidding and they're going to bid $1 just to be safe, I'm going to bid $3. So I was like, I'll bid $4 because I feel like
Smart.
If people go 5 or 6, then I don't want them anyway.
If two people bid the same amount, then it goes to the waiver number, and then
waiver priority, correct?
And then that person, would they drop to 10th on the waiver priority?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. If you bid and there's no waiver dispute, so to speak, then you keep your waiver priority. It's only when there's a dispute, so to speak, that it changes your waiver priority.
That makes sense. I got number 1, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting in the wing.
I got more money, so it doesn't matter.
For now. Should have put that as part of the better trade. God damn it! So second.
Now you're thinking.
Second waiver wire player Kuznetsov went for $16 to Sean. Dylan also bid, but no money. So that's somewhat interesting. I know there's some speculation like that he was a weird drop for that team. To me, I don't see a lot of value in him myself, so I didn't bid at all.
Yeah, and I talked to a couple people, maybe half the league around on him, and like there was some mixed reviews, and like
he does cope.
I was talking to Dylan a little bit, and he has a valid point that like statistically his worst season is the season I had him. So like naturally I'll have a bit of a negative bias on him.
Yeah.
He's also not a shooter really, especially when he plays with Wilson and Ovechkin and these guys that actually shoot like a ton. Like he's more of a distributor, even if it's more by default. Like I know he has a good shot, but he doesn't shoot as much.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just feel like
I think
if he's putting up power play points for a team that is going for the points, that he's worth it.
He fits into a certain kind of mold if like you're going for the assists, points, power play points. Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say is I think part of it for Dylan, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm making an assumption here. The way that he has his roster built is that he's kind of locked in with his guys.
Mm-hmm.
So like the only way he can really add guys is because in our league you can add right to your IR. So I feel like he's trying to, whenever there's a good player available on IR, he wants to add them so that way he can add that to that cycle that he has. You know what I mean? Like when he has his active roster, because if you have a full roster, you might as well carry 3 of the best IR guys you can, and then when one guy happens to go down or something, or if somebody goes on the COVID protocol, you can just
what
swap
happens if you have 2 people active on IR but only one guy to swap out? Then you'd have to drop one, right?
Or you'd have to keep them on IR. So that's the thing is you can keep active guys on your IR and on your NA. It
Yeah.
just will not let you add or drop guys off free agency. So you can ride
Okay. I wasn't
a
sure
healthy
if you
guy
had
for
two.
weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had two healthy guys on IR, and then one guy on your active roster got hurt, and you had to put him on IR. If you tried to swap them, it might bug out
Oh,
because
that works.
that
Nope,
works.
that works. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So that
It
sounds
should,
decent.
anyways.
That's
Yeah.
okay. We'll see what we'll
The
see it when it
the
happens.
way that he has it built, it's not a bad strategy. Like it's pretty
Makes sense.
smart,
Yeah.
really. Like
I
a
had
way to give
I
yourself a bit
fucking
of
couldn't beat his
protection.
ass, so and he had no fuck. Yeah.
He's got to get the credit. He did the same thing to both of us. He teased us all week, and then in the last couple of days, he's like, "Just kidding."
Literally the last game of the night for me. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, the craziest one of the week. We'll give it to the craziest player in the league. Good old.
I'm sure he'd take that award.
Good old Steve. You always boggle my mind, man. I love it though. Picks up Horvat off of waivers. He spends his whole wad, $100. Can't even say it
He
straight.
blows his load.
He blows his load. So I don't know if he thought everyone loved Horvat as much as him, or if he likes Horvat $100 worth. But Horvat is off the market, and I guess Steve is going to run into a situation, I think, this season where Horvat is going to be that player that probably should be dropped, but he spent $100 now. Can he go back and admit he made a mistake, possibly?
He already kind of did. He admitted to me that it was a panic move because the night before he said that he didn't have that bid. And then that's when the news came down that McKinnon has a lower body injury and is week to week.
Oh, yeah.
So he was like, oh, crap. I just lost McKinnon for 2-3 matchups. So I feel like he's like, this center is clearly the best center I can get right now for nothing other than dollars. No draft picks, no nothing. I can get him now.
That makes sense. That's valid.
Even if it's just for 3 weeks and then it rides through till he gets McKinnon back, that's probably a win for him in the situation he has going for the win or going to playoff. But
for sure.
He probably could have got him. Well, clearly he could have got him for less. I mean,
yeah.
A $50 bid probably would have been like a bit aggressive still, but also like, okay, that's your backup plan. Like that makes sense. Like I feel like $50 probably would have been, even 45 probably would have been.
Yeah.
The right
Interestingly,
number.
Dylan also bid on him for $0. But he would have had to drop someone had he got him. Interested who he would have dropped.
No, I believe Dylan had somebody else that he pushed onto IR.
Oh yeah, because he had that goalie. He had that goalie that he picked up. Yeah, Letang went to IR.
Yeah.
So.
Letang, right, correct.
All right, so that basically sums up the past week of trades, waiver wire craziness, and it's been pretty active. Been an active one so far. So do you want to jump into last week's results, and then we'll look at this week?
Before we get to the results and the predictions, let's jump down to the COVID quickly. I just wanted to touch on that quickly. Just because part of the idea that, or when we're talking about the trades and stuff too, is I think we may have even touched on it, just said that basically because the Northern Division or Canada Division, whatever is playing, it hasn't lost a game yet. They've played more games. So if you sort by total rank, they're all skewed, right? Because they played more games. You have to go by average to really see.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering what you think, more so on the scheduling impact, because what happens if we get to a situation where going into the playoffs, you have all these American teams who have basically played every other night for the last 2 months, and you have a Canadian team who is playing every third night or every other night, every night to every like 2 and 5 nights kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much of an impact do you think that's going to have on the fantasy schedule? And do you think it's going to be something people need to be worried about or plan for? Or do you think it's just going to be something where you got to have to just take your losses when they come and try and kind of
I think it's going to be
stop
the
leak
same.
on the boat?
Yeah, it's kind of going to be like what I've been dealing with the past 2 weeks with the postponements, is that you kind of just got to deal with them as you get dealt them. Like, I've missed like over 10 games the past 2 weeks from my players. I've probably missed the most out of anyone in the entire league so far. I haven't been lucky like some other managers when their players actually get put on the COVID list so they can add players. I've actually had to sit and waste countless games.
Valuable games.
And important games, especially against the opponents I've been having. So I think
The
I don't
one
know.
thing I've
Like the
noticed, and just
NHL.
to call out on that,
Yeah.
I just want to call out on that is that what I've noticed Yahoo is doing is when the news comes out, they're switching them to like NA, and then after like a short period of time, they switch them to IR. So like anytime you hear the
They
news or
didn't
you
do that for
hear
my
read your
players.
players ever, no, all I'm saying is just as a heads up, like for anyone, like go out to the league immediately if you hear anything and check your players because you might be able to quickly stash them and add a guy before Yahoo does their stupid shit. And you know, God forbid they're screwed up before game time, then you just miss out on games, right?
Yeah, like prime example, today Buffalo gets put in the COVID protocol. Jesse has 2 Buffalo players, both get the IR eligibility. I have 1 Buffalo player, no eligibility. What the hell is that?
That doesn't make sense. See, that doesn't make sense.
I think
it should be the whole team or none.
Yeah, well, I think the teams themselves actually put those specific players on the COVID protocol, which means they are the ones that went into contact with them. So technically, if the game plays tomorrow, which it might still, they haven't postponed that one yet, those players in the COVID protocol won't play.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Huh. So like an example being like it's the easiest way to talk about it is with Washington. They had those 4 Russians that had COVID protocol. They didn't have postponements just because they just broke protocols a little different than their actual case. So that's why I think that's what happens with these players. I've just been unlucky that none of mine are actually been COVID protocols.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But you're right. Like as soon as you hear, you should be on that page. I've been refreshing that page every 10 minutes, hoping that Vegas would get some. Hopefully, some of them gets COVID. not actually, but.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I was just like, you know what, let's make these trades now, because like for me, a body's a body.
Yep.
Everyone else, if they lose a body, it's important, right? So like if that doesn't work out for me, like the other thing too is there is no guarantee this season concludes, and like the worst possible outcome again would be we get to the Final Four and the season has to stop or some shit, and we have to like go on pause, or you know they go to a bubble again and we have to divide the top 4. Like that would be devastating.
Detrimental to our league. I think a lot of people would not want to play next season, which would be like it would be like,
yeah, it would be like, do we know for sure? And it's like, well, we can't guarantee that, and it's like.
Like I understand, like playing this season, it's supposed to be a unique season. Fantasy-wise, the NHL itself is unique. Fantasy-wise, gotta kind of mirror what the NHL season. Like GMs in the real NHL kind of have to deal with the craziness, so the GMs in our fantasy league, they have to deal with the craziness too. So it's just kind of how it is.
You know what though? I think that this could, in the long run, be one of the best things if this league holds up strong and true with a lot of these main managers anyways, is that this season, because of the unpredictability, because of the fact you have to be active, like it forces you. If you're not active, you're not going to be successful, specifically this year. So like it's going to almost force people to make decisions, to be active, to do these different things. And then when we go back to a normal season, it'll be like that I'm bored, but it'll be like what's out there, and people will look more and get more hands in cookie jars, so to speak, as you called it, right?
Yep.
Like so.
Yep.
I think it could be good. But yeah.
Alrighty, let's do this. Looking at last week's results. So I'm just this is not good. Oh shit. I'm gonna zoom this in here. I know you can't see the screen, but I just put up all last week's scores onto the screen. And yeah, I guess let's start things off from the bottom with the Rocket Trees handing Joey a 9-3 defeat. I don't know, this one was probably the least close. Pardon?
It's a gift wrap. Joey didn't meet minimum goalie requirements.
Yep. Did he? I haven't talked to him about that. Was that talked to you and him about since the trade?
I sent him a message and I just kind of said like, "Hey, you're not going to beat minimum ads," and that was on I think Saturday evening of the week, and he didn't do anything. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what happened there, but I would have liked to see him try. And that's kind of what led to the Fleury trade, because I was like, well, I want the tandem, and maybe he's worried. Well, if I have the tandem, maybe he likes Jari, and maybe he wants the tandem plus Jari. Maybe that's his go-to moving forward. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because when I tried to trade, I tried to just unload Allmark onto him for a pick,
Mm,
and he said, "No, I like my team." I'm like, "Are you sure you like Jari?" He doesn't watch the
yeah,
podcast, I'm
I
sure.
also asked him. I asked him on a couple players too, and he didn't really want to move them, and they're probably droppable players or will end up being dropped shortly, maybe. So, I mean,
We'll see.
see.
Yeah,
I hope he becomes more active, because like he's got a pretty solid team, and like he knows what he's talking about. So like I
yeah.
want him to try and push a little bit more, because I
He
feel like
almost
he can beat
banked
some
that
teams.
parlay he was linking in too, so that would have been.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Rundle Puckets 5-4 over Dynasty. Barely etches out Nick here. I don't. I gotta pull up the actual results here so I can talk about it. I guess this one basically came down to points, shots on goal. Nick had a decent goalie performance. I guess if Nick had enough saves, he would have been able to pull this one out.
Sorry, I'm just pulling it up here. Yeah, so I mean, he could have got one goal, would have been the difference.
Yeah, one goal would have been a tie.
A game-winning goal was the difference.
Yeah,
2 hits was the difference.
it's a very close match.
1 win. It was really close. I mean, the goals against and save wasn't really, but I mean, Nick's got some good goalies, so like he's gonna do well on that. I think he's just got to make it. I know he's talking a couple other trades. Obviously, I'm not going to give out insider secret he posted. He's talking about. So, I mean, he keeps trading off. He could turn into a team kind of like me, right? Where he can just add guys flavor of the week and flavor of the month, and drop them when their time's due, or turn them into assets.
Watching you guys battle in the rivalry.
It'll be us competing for picks and stuff. And I know I'm almost willing to guarantee you that the 2 weeks he'll try hardest will be week 7 and 8. He will look at it as, I have 2 weeks to spoil Tori's chance at making the playoffs, just because he can laugh and make fun of me, which is hilarious, and I love it. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if those are his the 2 weeks he tries hardest. And if he is going for the flavors of the week, the same week I'm going for the flavors of the week, at the same time other guys are making ads, it could get interesting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, game number 3 here. Steve goalies versus Ben Captain Clutch. 6-5 final here. This one was a close one, and I think Steve was dominating the majority of the week. But if you look at the numbers here, it was actually very close. I think Steve basically rode his goalies to they had a hot performance, and then he sat them the rest of the week, which kind of locked up a split in goalies, and then he just focused on the points, the shots, the hits, and that basically did it for him. I think it was a well-played week.
Called it right on. His strategy is, hit on a couple good starts early, and then run a bunch of skaters out for the second or the last 60% of the week, 75% of the week, and get those other stats. And if you look at that categories, or if you look at the matchup, is that what you have up, the numbers?
Yep.
So you can see there's something a little bit wrong with the goals and points there, why they don't match up, but the assists do. Well, Ben has Malkin, who I think his overall rank is like 200 or something like that.
Yeah.
243 is his rank. He's not doing well. Plus, he hasn't had Liney other than 1 game this year. So, like, you add in Malkin that's playing half decent, and Liney, that week's different.
Yeah.
The week is different. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can't change the matchup, but
if you're not getting Malkin,
different circumstances.
Yeah. Malkin with no power play points on a week is kind of rough, because that's a top power play unit normally on a given year.
Might as well at that point add a guy like, that's the thing, is like, if you would never know this, but like a Malkin who goes a week with 0 points or 0 power play points, you'd be better off to add a guy like Reeves who gets you 50 hits, because then I can stamp down that I won hits this week, and that's one category, right?
Yep. For sure. All right, let's go to your matchup here. Kind of crazy. 10-0.
Really? You
Complete.
can't give me the spotlight? You can't leave me to the last one because I dominated?
No, I can't. I can't. It's just because on my screen the order is I think it just puts my match at the top. That's all.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. But it's funny because I was watching this and I actually feel like there's a stat correction that would make me win 11-0 because I was watching the Edmonton game. This was the night that Draisaitl had 6 assists.
Yeah.
And I think Yahoo just gave up and stopped counting because I was watching the game when he had 4 and I had 20 assists.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how he ended up with 6 assists and I still only got 20 assists. It doesn't matter, but it's just hilarious because it would be the difference of 10-0 to 11-0. And I was like, damn it, I wanted the 11-0 plus the win. Imagine a full 12-0 sweep. I think this is the first shutout in league history, but imagine a full 12-0 sweep on a good team.
Yeah.
I'm proud of this, but damn, a 12 would have been super amazing.
Yep. His team's definitely good, so to pull that off is one hell of a thing. It's good on you, man. That's good week. Well played.
Thank you.
Look at this. I'm just looking at this Tkachuk fucking line. Even though the 24 shots only go 16 hits, like gross. Brady Tkachuk, a monster.
The one game he had. One game against Vancouver, he had 5 shots and 12 hits. Next game, he followed it up with 8 shots and 2 hits. So in 2 games, he had 13 shots and 14 hits.
That's just nasty.
7-7 average, basically.
That's nasty.
It is. And then you add in Nurse. Nurse is pretty damn good, too.
Yeah. All right, this last one here. The heartbreak of the week. Tie game between me and Dylan. I held the lead all week until Sunday. And even Sunday I had double the skaters as him and just couldn't get shots on goal.
Went 0 for 4 on ads?
I added 4 guys and got 2 shots over. It was nasty. Like 2 times I contemplated between 2 guys, and both times I got 1 shot instead of 5, so that would have been the difference. But it is what it is. I can't complain too much. Unlucky on shots on goals, but I was extremely lucky in the goalie department. So at the end of the day, a tie is probably reasonable and something I should be happy about with this team. Had to go balls to the wall. I had a couple postponements. But
I'm not gonna lie, your tandem right now is pretty nice. Just as like a low key tandem.
What, Grubauer Reimer?
You have a pretty nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a pretty short term window, anyways, until Mrazek comes back, which probably won't be for 3 or 4 weeks. But
yeah,
that's a good run for Reimer. I think
has been injured every season for a little while. Maybe this is his crease to lose. Who knows?
They're both free agents too, so that's why I feel like Carolina might be a landing spot for one of these big goalies that they're talking about potentially moving. These Rasks, Gibsons, these Andersons, whatever, right? But I like that run that you're looking at there.
Thank you. I'm trying. I want harm. I think I did that one I added that last night.
Next week's gonna be good. You and I play next week, so that's the matchup that will be best.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm gonna pull up the current matchups for this week. My dog won't stop burping over there. I don't know if you heard that.
I definitely did. Sounded like a good old belch.
He's waking up from a nap. He's ready to go. So I'm just gonna put up the matches here and where we're at with this. So we're on Tuesday. The 4 o'clock or the early games have started, so some games are going. We got a couple of postponements today. So our predictions, we're gonna have a little bit of information, but we'll start. Let's start with Captain Clutch, Beer Buds, their matchup here. Who do you got? What are you looking at here?
Oh, sorry. What are the teams again?
Beer Buds, Ben, Sean. It's going to be a close one.
So
this is a must-win situation basically for both teams.
I have Sean on this one only because I feel like Panarin's heating up, and I haven't seen Malkin start to heat up yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's the advantage. And Sean just got Pasternak back,
Who's huge.
and Ben is getting Line back, so that's big for both of them. They're both 0-2 teams, which this is a huge win for both of them, and they're both getting their guys back. So like, I actually think a tie is worse case for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think like obviously a loss is worse, but like it's a big win for whoever gets this. Like this could be season changing for one of these two guys, depending how some other things go.
Yeah.
So like,
I think it's going to come down to goalies for me. Like that's my perspective. Is right now they're both kind of off to rough starts in net. I think those both Ben's had 2 games, I'm guessing, with Markstrom and Vanacek, but it's going to come down to that. That's where whoever wins more goalie categories, I'm going to give the win. Right now, I'm leaning towards Ben because he has 3 goalies, so I'm going to just give him a little bit of an edge here. I like his goalies better.
And the fact that he's got Vanacek, who's been on fire, slash if Samsonov has to come back, which it sounds like he'll be back in the next game or 2.
Yeah.
Samsonov in there, and I think that's a pretty solid trio that he's got there.
All right.
But you think it's time to consider maybe panicking for Sean with his goalies? He's got one goalie that's played a bunch of extra games that isn't ranked in the top 100, and then he's got one goalie that hasn't really played any games that isn't ranked in the top 100.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If I were him, I wouldn't have Bobo.
Yeah.
No. Florida they can't get it together. Bobo can't get it together. He has shown no reason to trust him. And I don't necessarily...
Until he plays Detroit.
Yeah. Well, he lost against Detroit.
Well, did he? 2-1?
Oh, no, it was
Dredger
who lost. Sorry.
Yeah, Dredger, yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing, is it like they seem to be platooning those two guys, Dredger and Bobrovsky. If they were ramming Bobrovsky down the throat, maybe they will. Assuming they eventually will. They paid all the money for him. But if they start playing him every game, he is definitely worth rosterable. Like, definitely be worth being rosterable. Like, if he dropped him, I probably would consider.
I'm not as high on Florida as you. I don't necessarily believe that they've had a very easy schedule so far, so they're about to be tested. And I might be a believer afterwards, but not yet.
Yeah.
All right, Beefy Joey, Beef Joe. For this one,
Dylan and Joey.
I'm just after playing Beefy and yeah. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
After playing Beefy last week and seeing what Joey did last week, I'm just gonna pick Beefy to win this one. I don't see it any other way.
That was kind of my take, and at this point, prove it really. Like Dylan's supposed to be the best team in the league, and so far he is the best team in the league.
Yeah. Or
like projecting to be. So like,
McDavid's unstoppable, man. He is unstoppable.
If he continues this, yeah. Especially playing in the Northern, like that's what I said at the start of the season, is that I feel like the highest scoring division will be the Northern Division by like not even close.
He has averaged 3 points per game over the past 5 games.
Which is silly.
Just silly. And now he plays Ottawa again tonight, so like, who knows?
Anytime he plays Ottawa, because it's going to be back to back, right? He's going to have two games against Ottawa. That's money in the bank, 5 points probably.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe even 6, 7 points money in the bank. Like that's disgusting to say. And Ottawa's not even bad. They just can't score.
Yeah.
That's their problem.
And they get scored on.
They do, but Murray's not playing well. But they play like their coaching staff is good. They need some credit. Like their coaching staff is putting together some solid stuff, but they're just not there yet. They're playing their young kids to try and get them some exposure. They're going to get another high pick. That's going to be good for them. I think it's going to be another freaking monster defenseman, which is going to suck for me as a Leaf fan, but it is what it is.
Sounds good. All right, Steve, Nick, goalies, Dynasty. After watching last week, watching Steve make some decent decisions, I'm giving this one to Steve, not just because of that. I think his team's much better. But I'm also kind of starting to worry a little bit about Steve down the stretch. I'm starting to worry. As long as he doesn't panic like he did before, I think he's starting to set up. He could pull something together here. I think Tarasenko's
yep, Tarasenko's coming back in 3 weeks maybe, which is going to be huge for his team.
Yeah, right on time.
Yeah, like I said last episode or whatever, like on paper it was like, why the hell is he adding Tarasenko? But like in a couple weeks from then, which we're approaching now, you're getting a guy that is 1,000% rosterable. Like he shoots like 4 shots a game, and he even hits a couple. He might hit a little less coming off injury, but still, like he's gonna go right on the top line. Like he's gonna produce on the power play. Like he's gonna be a monster for him into the playoffs, which I don't look forward to having to play if I make it there. So
yeah, I'm not looking forward to our season matchup either. All right, I'm gonna save you guys for last this time. To be fair, I'm gonna preview my game first here. Scrub Dynasty, who still needs a logo. Looking to hire a designer out there if there is one. Against Rundle's Puckets. I jokingly said that this is gonna be the first week I don't pick myself, but let's be real. I'm picking myself. I'm gonna pull it off. I'm gonna win this. I'm down 9 points to 1 already, but I'm gonna find a way. It's gonna be dirty, but I'm gonna have to find a way. I know I can win hits, and if I scoop the goalie division, then it's only one more category I need. Shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough because he doesn't have Varlamov, and I have him in my other pool, and he's been what he always has been. Is he plays 5 games lights out, and then he plays 3 like he isn't wearing the right equipment or something. Like he's postponed. Carter Hart hasn't had the greatest start.
No,
I like the chances for your situation, but at the same time, Carter Hart could throw up 2 dynamite games this week, right?
Yeah,
and
that's the problem. I'm feeling confident. They do play Boston and Washington, so that's the one.
Could be
thing
some goals there.
Yeah, it's the one thing working in my favor. The one thing not working in my favor is I have both Vegas players postponed for 2 games. I got Couture postponed for 2 games, and I got Eichel at least 1 game, so that's 7 games lost already. Eichel could be even more. So, I'm thin.
Yeah.
I'm thin, and I just.
If you look at your opponent too, though, he's got the
Stone.
Mark Stone. So Mark Stone's missing a couple games. He's got Crosby, who is big for him. So
Varlamov now. So yeah, he's missing half as much as me. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm expecting big things. Added Besser. Hopefully he can just get me something.
He's been good. He's good.
He's good. He's on an okay team. Against Montreal, might be tough.
For me with Besser, he's not a guy you look at night to night, because there's going to be some nights where you're like, are you kidding me? You got me 1 shot. But then you look at the end of the week through 3 games and you're like, oh, wow, he had like a hat trick one night and whatever. Like,
exactly.
Like, oh, every week he can do what you want, but there will be some kind of downer nights. But...
I had him last year, so I know what goes with him. It's kind of the same with Braden Shen. Kind of has the same kind of things happen to him. Some days he's huge.
But that's why they're not third rounders either, right?
Yep, exactly.
They don't have that consistency.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna take that one home. And who'd you pick? Me? You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I think it's gonna be the the closest one of the week.
Yeah, another tie in the book.
Maybe.
I'll be okay. I would be okay with that.
I think it's gonna be a 6-5, unless somebody happens to go crazy in the shutout or the game-winning goal category. But considering he doesn't have Crosby and he only has 1 goalie, I don't think that's gonna be him. So maybe it's you. So.
All right, and then the final matchup of the week, we got you, Mr. Maverick, versus the Rocket Trees. Making moves, Rocket Trees. Yeah. I think at this point, I'm going to be picking you to just pull this one off, because I give you the edge in net, and I give you the edge in hits, especially with him losing Ristolainen. That was a big cripple, like you said, we talked about. He did luck box.
And giving me Mott.
And giving you Mott, yeah.
It's like the 2 things that...
Who's already got 4 hits for you tonight.
Yeah. So that's huge for me, because I'm not going to lie. When I looked at the categories last night, I was just like, are you kidding me? I'm done on Monday. It's like the shots on goal was like, I don't know, I don't remember what it was, but it was like 29 to like 7.
Mm-hmm.
And the hits were like 15 to 4 or something. And I was like, I thought I was good at these things. How did I have the same amount of games and he like quadrupled my output? I was like, what the hell happened?
That's what happened against me and Beefy. I know the feeling. I actually think you're gonna have your work cut out for you in shots though, because he has some guys that can put them up.
He does, but I mean, at the same time, he's got 2 Montreal Canadiens. I've got a Montreal Canadian, so chances are every time Toffoli or Tatar get a shot or a point, Anderson's in on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now, tonight, Anderson's got the same amount exactly of shots and hits as Tatar and Toffoli have combined.
Oh, look at that.
He's got 1 extra goal.
Ehlers got a goal against you.
There you go. He's gonna hurt me, but he's only gonna hurt me tonight and Thursday, and then I don't have to worry about him.
I'm thinking. Yeah. I honestly think this one's gonna be close too. This is gonna be coming down to the wire.
I told Jesse today. I think I told you today. Like I think tonight is going to be the difference maker for goalies. Like right now, Allen's up 3-1, and this is about halfway through the game, so that's good. I'm hoping Gibson has a good start versus LA tonight. Tobin actually didn't end up playing.
Yep.
They're up 4-1, so that's good for me. And then he has got Lankinen in there, and they're down 1-0. I'm hoping that Carolina pumps them tonight. So.
Me too. First shutout.
If he gives up 4 or 5 goals, he's done. He's got to chase goalies at that point to try and recover on the save percent, because I already have saves and wins at that point, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to chase. He's not going to catch me on that. That's why I added Allen tonight, because I knew that would be a guy that could hurt me. Didn't really want to waste the ad on a goalie when I'm strong on goalies, but I figured, don't let him hurt me. I gave you Ehlers who can hurt me, so take Allens who can't also hurt me. Smart. And then it makes the whole Mott and Ristolainen thing that much better for me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, if Hall and Ristolainen are on COVID protocol, they'll probably miss 4 or 5 games, maybe.
Yeah, they'll miss the rest of the week for sure.
Yeah, so that's his 2 biggest. 2 of his better shooters/hitters. So
yep.
I feel confident being.
He still has a decent hitting team though.
He does. He definitely does, because he's also got. Doesn't he have Ovi?
He has Ovi.
Yeah, so he's got guys who like to hit and shoot as well.
Shreknikov likes to hit too.
Well, yep. I mean, it's going to be close for sure. But if the goaltending stats aren't close, and I can also add, right? I have a couple more ads I can use.
I'm not gonna lie. I think if ties were predictable, if all the games, I think this is the one that has the tie potential.
I think it's unfair to say that too at the same time, because of how I built my team. Like I don't think I have very many games where I will get less than 3 or 4 points. Yeah. I might lose some matchups 6-3, 7-4, 7-3, whatever. I'm hoping that all year, barring injuries and stuff, I don't lose more than 4. That's my target.
Yeah.
That means I only have to get 2.
Yeah. So, sounds good.
It's worked well so far.
And that's it.
And I'm in the gauntlet, right? I'm running the gauntlet. That's what you have to remember as well. I had Bill in first, and I almost got a point off of him. And I took him to the very brink. And then I played, who did I play last week? Sean Buds, who was the President's Trophy winner from last year. Luckily, I got him just before Pasternak came back, because Pasta had he had 11 or 12 shots in the first 2 games back.
Yeah, he's been a beast.
That hurt me. Yeah, so I got him at a good time, and then I got you next. So at least I get you out of the way.
Owl, yeah.
So
right when all my guys are done with their postponements, you're gonna get me.
Yeah. Again, it's always goalies, right? I'm built like no one else really is. So when people face me, it's such a different task that people may not be equipped to handle it. That's what I'm hoping on.
I've been studying. I've been sleeping, eating, thinking about the matchup. You're going. All right, man. What I've
before.
So that basically wraps up week 2. We're on to week 3, dropping Klefbombs. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. For a league that you're probably not a part of, but thanks.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, we're gonna need people. So, all right. Anything else?
All right, man.
All right.
I think that's it.
Yeah, sounds good. Take care, man. Have a good night.
All right, cheers, man.
Bye.